Go guys, good morning. What is going on, guys? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. If you are in our wide world of Better Body Academy, I love you guys. We are hitting up another episode of Q&A, and Q&A is where we compile a list of questions that have come in from the boys and the girls inside the program, and then we answer those questions publicly because we think that everyone can benefit from these questions being answered. So if you're coming into this one live, guys, make sure that you let me know in the comments that you're here and you're ready to rock and roll. I know it's getting chilly for you Aussies, so to have your company here this morning, I hope you're staying warm. I'm not going to turn the camera outside because it's beautiful and sunny here in Canada, and it's about the 3 months of the year that I actually get some back on my friends. So I love you guys. Let's get started in just 2 minutes. So guys, team, where are we? How's our week been? I want to know in the comments. Happy Friday to Terry, to Chris, to Jackie, to Ash, to Sean, all these legends. Morning Chili, yeah, 100%. Good morning Sean, the ever consistent Lauren. Love you guys. How's your week been? Let me know what's going on in the comments. Talk to me in the framework of the trifecta. Talk to me in the framework of the trifecta. How's the week been? Okay, whenever you're getting a little bit kind of drawn away by what you should be working on, which is, by the way, completely normal. I always just want you to come back to the framework of the trifecta. And when you can just do that, you block out all the other noise and you say to yourself, you know what? Maybe I've been emotional this week. Maybe it's been a shit week. Maybe it's been a great week. But if I can just stay on following the meal plan or the basic concepts we teach around nutrition, if I can just keep hitting those 10,000 steps, if I can get in 1, 2, 3 workouts a week, that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. And I'm not saying that that's easy. I'm just saying that's the reference. Rather than kind of thinking, oh, it's not working, I need to do all these extra things. That's not the way to play it, team. The way to play it is, okay, come back to the process. Stop being so worried about my feelings. Stop being so worried about the outcome. Stick on the process. Nutrition, steps, workouts. That's it. In that order of importance, in my opinion, particularly if you're just starting. We're going to get started in just a moment, guys. Kenny Beats is here. Cherie's here. How are you? Sean says, it's been another great one. Good stuff. Jen Lovegrove, love having you here. Good morning, Davey. How are you, my legend? Kaylee's showing up for herself despite being busy being a mama. Good morning, guys. We've got a couple of Facebook users here that hasn't authorized. All good. Good morning, Carly. How are you? And best week you've had all year. How good's that, Chris? One thing that Chris Lewis has been very, very good at is falling off. One thing he's been even better at over the course of years is getting back up again. And that's the type of man that over the long term is successful, that keeps coming back to the process. Well done, Chris. Guys, before we get stuck into today, I want to say congratulations. Give me a silent head nod if your arms are sore, if your chest is sore, if your triceps are sore, maybe a little bit of your, what would you say, shoulders are sore maybe, or maybe you're doing squats or an alternative exercise as part of the push-up challenge and you're doing it. When the push-ups was 210 the other day, I was like, is that real? So even for coach, that's a lot of push-ups. Guys, we did it. And so to those of you that are just showing up, I think it shows a lot. In fact, what I'm doing with our coaching team, our full team of staff, including our admin guys, we're doing our little teams comp, not like a challenge with all of us. And so what I'm looking at is, who are the people in my staff that are showing up? It's really insightful. Don't fucking commit to stuff and then break word with yourself, right? This is how you build self-belief. This is how you build self-belief. You say you're going to do something, you don't have to enjoy it. It doesn't have to feel good. You can kick and scream the whole time you do it. But if you say you're going to do it, do it. And then watch your self-esteem, your confidence build over time. One more thing that I want to say before we start this episode of Q&A. Tomorrow, you guys remember we created a free group. The reason we created this free group was because we want people who are sitting on the fence to get a bit of a taste of our coaching, okay? And so inside the free group, as we kind of build out our mission to be able to hit 1 million lives, it requires us to do things in different ways to try to encourage people to get off the fence. So tomorrow I'm going to be doing at 7 o'clock Australian time. If you're around, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the model that we follow, okay? I'm not going to go into it in too much detail, but see this. Many of you don't actually know what this stands for. It's the BBA logo that you wear on your chest and hat so proudly. Many of you don't know what it actually stands for because I probably haven't talked enough about the origin of this. And in tomorrow's, in the free group, I'm going to be talking about that. So if you would like to be invited or added to the free group, just let me know. Obviously it's free. And just let me know in the comments and I will get Coach Carly to take a list of people that want to be involved and you can do it. If you can't make it tomorrow morning, it doesn't really matter. You guys know most of the stuff, but it's going to be a short 15 to 20 minute live to get this group ignited. Let's get stuck into another episode of Q&A. I've scoured the questions. There's some great questions. And just a reminder to the 17 people that are currently watching on live, if you would like to ask any questions, please just ask the questions in the comments and I will interrupt the stream of pre-built questions to answer your question. You should think to yourself like, what am I struggling with at the moment? This is a great chance to ask Jace how to navigate or what's the answer to this question. Whether it's to do with nutrition, training, mindset, lifestyle, it doesn't really matter. Let's get stuck in. All right, can I speed up my metabolism? Okay. This is great because the reason I like this question is that so many people have kind of, firstly, they don't actually understand what metabolism is. And secondly, they think that metabolism is this kind of like on-off switch. You've either got a metabolism or you don't, or they're confused about what metabolism actually means. So let me try to simplify it for you guys so you understand. Metabolism just means the sum of all the processes that keep the body alive, okay? If you have a slow metabolism, this basically means that you just burn fewer calories to keep you alive. Now, if you have a faster metabolism, you build more calories to keep you alive. So I want you to think about it like this. This is the best way to explain it. You got two cars in a garage, okay? One's a Ferrari, one's a Hyundai Excel. On midnight, you turn both of the ignitions on, you leave them in neutral, and then you come back in 24 hours and you see how much petrol each one's burned. Which one is going to have burned more petrol? The bigger engine. That is the difference between a high metabolism and a low metabolism. This is different to total daily energy expenditure. Think about it, okay? You could sit your car in the garage doing nothing, or you could have those processes which are keeping the car on happening anyway, but then you also drive the car. So the driving is the equivalent of the activity we do. So if you think about it like this, of your total daily calories, the majority of the calories come from, about 70%, come from your metabolism, just keeping the lights on. On top of that, you have about another 30%, which take care of the activity component, okay? The food processing component. So the things that happen additional to the base level of metabolism. So the question is, can you increase the actual base level, keeping the lights on, the rate at which you burn calories? Now, given the explanation that I've given you and the two cars, what do you suspect the answer is to that question? or the process to that question, to achieving that? Well, it is that you got to build a bigger engine, and you got to get that engine to burn more even when it's just sitting in the garage. It's creating the machinery to burn more petrol. That is what's meant by having a higher metabolism. And the only ways to do it are building more muscle mass. Number one, doing quite high intensity interval style training. Number two, and this one's interesting. Number three, eat more food. Eat more food. Your body has this weird kind of set point, right? Where it feels the best at. And when you start to eat more food, what happens is you push that set point up. This is also the reason why, in the converse, if you go and start dieting, it's the very worst thing you can do for your metabolism. In other words, the rate at which you burn calories. Because what happens is dieting works in the opposite process. If you go and start restricting calories, the body, like in a big way quickly, what do you think the body's going to do? It's going to go, I see what you're doing here. If you're going to put fuck all petrol in my Ferrari engine, then I better downgrade my engine because I'm going to run out of petrol pretty quickly. And what's the consequence of running out of petrol? You lose weight. But the problem is, in the process of losing weight, you've gone from having a Ferrari to a Hyundai Excel. Now, I'm taking a lot of time to answer this question because I think it's really important. Can you please say to me in the comments, metabolism? If you feel, comment the word metabolism if you feel that you've got a better grip of this understanding now. Please let me know in the comments, guys. Because if we can get this concept, we can understand why improving our metabolism with resistance training is the most important form of training. You can always drive the car another day. But if you drive the car another day, the moment you stop driving the car, you stop burning petrol. But if you've got a bigger engine, you burn more petrol all of the time. And that's what's important. Lisa says metabolism. Ash says metabolism. That's what we're looking for. Let's get on to the next question. Interesting question, this one. And I don't actually know who it come from. JP actually collates these questions for me. How can I pursue being a coach? Is an interesting question. And I am just going to answer that in a kind of a succinct fashion. And what I want to say is that there's a lot of people that want to be a coach, but no one that wants to be a leader. Think about that. These fucking kids of 21 years old that are on TikTok telling people about life. Like, when I was 21 years old, I had no idea. Like, no idea. I was intelligent, I was hardworking, I was smart, but had zero world knowledge. And to be giving out information to busy mums and dads about life is absolutely ridiculous. So if part of your internals, like you really love helping people, I think that you've got the DNA to be a coach of some sort, whether it be a netball coach, a footy coach, or a health coach or a mindset coach or something like that in the future. I think it's great. But you have to embody it first in yourself. You really have to embody it first. You got to be a leader first. You got to do the thing first. And what I look for is people that are doing it, who are true to their word. People who say and do. I mean, the immediate three people that come to mind here are Linda Janes. She'd be a fantastic coach. Because for over a year, she said she'd do it, and she's been consistent. I don't know if Linda's watching this. She's probably at the beach having a swim. Nick Friend, Terry Holden. Over a long period of time, they've said that they just do it and they follow up. That's the makings of good coaches. All right, next question. Push-ups are for triceps and chest. Why do I feel it in my shoulders? Okay, let me know in the comments if that's you. We've got 20 people watching live. Are you feeling the push-up challenge if you're doing push-ups? Or when you do push-ups, do you typically feel it in the shoulders more than you do your chest and your triceps? There is a couple of reasons for this. Now, firstly, think about it. The push-up is similar but opposite to the chest press, to a bench press, okay? When you're lying that way versus when you're lying that way. In the bench press, you're pushing against gravity. How does that work? Yeah, you're pushing against gravity, okay? Push-ups are a little bit the same. You're still pushing against gravity, but the movement is largely the same. You're going to have some involvement here on the what's called the front delt. So you are going to get that. What you're going to find is you may be getting more of it as the days go by. And the reason for that is because if you've got tired shoulders, or for that matter, pecs and triceps from earlier in the week from doing push-ups, you're going to have that carrying on into the day. So there's going to be some residual soreness, which is going to put a bit more extra tension on your shoulders. So if you are feeling that, that's one possibility. The next possibility might be that you've got weak chest and shoulders. So for example, weak chest and triceps. So for example, if you are doing let's say someone's struggling with their bench press, a lot of the time, it's not actually their bench that's the problem, it's that they've got really weak triceps. So in the push-up, it can be a similar thing. It can be that you've got really weak triceps and chest, so your shoulders are taking over because they're a little bit stronger. Does that make sense? Now, what do you do about it? What you've got to do is when you're doing a push-up, whether you can do 1 push-up or 100 push-ups, it doesn't matter. You've got to think about pushing from your chest. Like, the push-up is probably the most fundamental, solid movement that I can think of. And even if you didn't do the push-up challenge, but you'd like to be able to do push-ups, this is a good thing because they are really good movement, okay? What you want to be thinking about is rather than pushing from your kind of forearms or hands or arching your back, you want to be thinking about squeezing, like squeezing. When you squeeze from the chest, that's what pushes the arm out, okay? So you want to be thinking of squeezing from the chest. Now, that's a mind-muscle connection, and this applies to all forms of resistance training. If you are going in the gym and you're just kind of lifting things all of a sudden and not thinking about the squeeze, I actually think the most fundamental thing about resistance training for what we're trying to achieve, which is not to get massively strong, it's to build composition, you need to be thinking about the squeeze. Even if you're doing a 5 kilo dumbbell press, it doesn't matter. Squeeze. Okay? Now, specifically with the push-up, there's lots of different types of push-ups, but here's the main issue that people do. They flare the elbows too much, okay? So what happens is because they're having a wide grip and they're flaring the elbows and they're bending outways, you tend to put a lot of internal pressure on your shoulder. So when I'm doing a push-up, what I'm thinking is instead, rather than going outways, I'm thinking going backwards with the elbow. So you want to reduce the flare of your elbow and instead come in. Does this make sense, guys? So the push-up, rather than going like this and dropping into it that way, we kind of want to be going, so hands are in the same position, but we want to be going that way. And naturally, you can see here in this movement, look at this. I'm coming from my chest and my triceps as opposed to all of the tension being in here in my shoulders. Does this make sense, guys? All right, Dave's got a question. After losing a lot of weight with BBA, I'm getting close to my target weight I set at the beginning. How do I work out my ideal target to refresh my goals? What an epic question. Great question, Dave, and thanks for asking it, because I think a lot of people get to this. I was looking at Troy Whitelam, who I'm going to post about after this. He's basically at his goal now. So the first thing I would do, Dave, is say, okay, probably the best thing we can do is have a reference for our height, okay? And I think for me, what I do when I'm doing a video for someone about joining, for example, is I think about my height, and this is the way I think about it, Dave, and I'm just going to talk you through it, okay? I think about my height. I am 175 centimeters, okay? I have probably a little bit more muscle mass than the average guy, which is going to weigh something. So that basically means that at 84 kilograms, I'm going to be heavier than what I would see the average guy's acceptable weight being. I'm 84 kilos and 175 centimeters. So if I'm looking at an application and he's telling me about where he's currently weighing and he says 94 kilograms, I'm going to try to have a look at his picture and I'm going to say, okay, well, he's 94 kilograms. He doesn't look like he has that much muscle mass on him. He's 40 years old. He's the same height as me, or he's 176 centimeters. He should probably be around about 78 to 80 kilos as an ideal, working off me as a reference. He needs to lose from 94 kilos to get back down to about 80. Dave, can you let me know in the comments what your height is? So, thinking about you, Dave, from memory, I'm thinking, without going into your details, I'm thinking you're probably around 6'1", 6'2", at a guess, which is 182 to 185 centimeters. That would be my guess. Oh, fuck, you're real tall, 197. Okay, so for me, this would afford you a lot more weight because you've got a longer torso. And this still applies to ladies, by the way, as well. Carly, if you're watching, feel free to comment your height and your weight so I can reference that, Carly. So, and again, like I'm going to make a point in a minute if you're way over the weight. Okay, so just forget that. So, Dave, you are 22 centimeters, fucking hell, taller than me. You're a tall guy. That would probably afford you, I would think, in my mind, to be 105 kilos, roughly, without a bunch of extra muscle. And Dave, you work hard, but I don't think you're an Arnold Schwarzenegger type. I think 105 kilos, 110 kilos is probably in and around where you would want to be. Dave, the other thing that you should think about is your waist circumference. So for men, the waist circumference that is the target is 94 centimeters. This is the Australian guidelines on good, simple waist circumference. So what you could do, Dave, is you could pay less attention to your weight and you could pay attention to your waist circumference. Because what that would do is give us a bit of an indication of where you're actually at, okay? Now, the point that I wanted to make here for everyone is that actually the more important thing is that you're going the direction of your goals. And so when Carly puts into the chat, I'm 158 centimeters and 53 kilograms after baby, like her healthy weight for her is about, what, 50 kilos? And so if you're 90 kilos at the same height, you're like, oh, well, I'm fat. It's not about putting labels on this. It's about saying, if I'm 90 kilos and I can get to 85, I'm 5 kilos less of body fat that's surrounding my organs. It's not about trying to get to a perfect weight. For reference, Dave White has lost 30 kilos. 30 kilos. And a man of Dave's previous weight and height will lose it. So what I'm going to do here is swap over. Guys, can you see my screen? I believe you should be able to. So this is Dave. I hope you don't mind me showing this, Dave, but this is Dave's tracking. He started off at 150 kilos and 132 centimeters. And he is now 34 kilos down and he's 25 centimeters around the guts, right? So Dave, you're here at 108 centimeters. Now, why did I just tell you that? The reason I'm spending time on this, so guys, this is another important question that the ladies ask a lot of the time. I said to you, Dave, 94 centimeters is kind of roughly the healthy weight range, or waist range rather, for women. And you'll be like, well, fuck, I'm still 23 centimeters off, Jace. Jesus Christ, like that doesn't sound good. Dave, you were 40 centimeters above. Now you're 20. You just half your risk. And likewise with the weight. Dave, I said that probably 105, 110 kilos is about the mark. And you might be like, well, I'm still got 7 kilos to lose. I don't really need to lose 7 kilos. Dave, you've gone from 150 down to where you're at now. Like, so I really do think that we've kind of got to be careful in like using reference, like it's good to have a bit of a reference, but everyone needs to understand that this is more about the direction. Like if you're going, okay, put it this way. If people could achieve what Dave has achieved here over the course of 2 years, that would be an incredible result. Incredible result. The fact that Dave has done this since January attests to the stuff that's going on with Dave. And this is why I am so stoked for those of you that are watching that Dave is coming to the men's retreat so he can share his story, of which he has to get annual checkups around cancer risk. But he just got to a point where he said to me, Jace, it's either I get surgery for weight loss or I go all in on this. Carly says, far out, 30 kilos, that's my kid. Exactly, it's mental. Okay, Sean says, I'm 172 centimeters and 82 kilos, that's why I'm here. I was 87.5. Exactly, Sean. So we don't, and ladies, listen up. Weight loss for women is nearly always a lot slower. And this is because it's not because women are weaker or anything like that. It's because women have to have a much higher body fat percentage to do with childbearing, okay? And certain tissues, like breast tissues, which are predominantly fat and water, okay? Men don't have breast tissue in the same way that women do. And so for this reason, it's got to be a slower journey for women, which is why it's great when you're in BBA with your partner, but you also can't compare the rates of fat loss. They're not going to work the same. So really good attitude, Sean, and you are going to be an absolute star, as I knew Dave was at the start. So Dave, to answer your question in short, right, I don't think that you should be fixated about a number. I think that you should be looking at your photos and thinking to myself, well, what's the payoff here? How do I feel? Where's my strength? What would my life goals be? For example, Dave, let's pretend that you wanted to run a 10K. Okay, well, at a certain point, it's going to be a problem if you cut calories and keep cutting, because you're probably going to want to have some of those calories to be able to cover the endurance that you've got in your goal set. So it just really depends. I think that at 116 kilos, mate, you are probably 6 to 7 kilos away from a best weight for you. I would be now turning all of your attention, not all of your attention as in don't walk any steps. I would be really, Dave, saying to you, your metabolism, going back to the first question, and I know I'm spending a lot of time on these questions, but they're great questions. The first question was, what reduces your metabolism? Losing a lot of weight, even if it's fat. Think about it. When you're hauling around lots of weight, that burns a lot of energy, whether it's fat or whether it's muscle, okay? So what tends to happen is as the body becomes more efficient because you've got less body fat, actually your metabolism comes down. So Dave, for you, I would be expecting, you have done really well to override the plateaus that most people face along the way from being really, really consistent. But what I'd be thinking of doing, Dave, and we can talk about this, you and I, if you want, is like at a certain point, maybe 5 kilos more perhaps, or even now, turning our attention to doing a good solid reverse diet to get your calories back up again. And you have to be doing resistance training, Dave, because at your age and your amount of weight loss, we don't want to have any rebound weight gain due to the fact that your metabolism's come down because everything in life is a little bit easier being 33 kilos less. Okay? Hopefully that was helpful in a way. Let's keep going, guys. So where's my bloody questions? All right. Can I still have effective results without fasting? I'm not even going to display the question. Yes, you can. Fasting's irrelevant. Fasting is just a tool to help you achieve a calorie deficit. That's all. If you fast, great. If you don't fast, great. Just hit the calorie target. That's all that matters. Are there calories for weight loss or weight gain tailored to men and women, or is it all just the same for both? Yes, there are definitely different amounts. That said, you can use the most detailed equations in the world to arrive at roughly the same number. Likewise, you can arrive at a number, be absolutely perfect with MyFitnessPal, and guess what? It's inaccurate still by a little bit. And so it's never going to be perfect, okay? I would just suggest instead stick to the numbers that we've given you to start, and as your weight changes, contact the coaches directly so that we can direct you on the next steps, whether that be increasing calories with a few extra steps or an incline treadmill session every other day, whether that be, okay, we've still got a little bit more room to move, whether that means just getting a little bit more consistent, we can sort that out, okay? But you're best to contact the coaches directly and ask that question. All right, one final question, guys. How does protein help me lose weight if I have to eat a lot of it? I'm not sure I understand the question entirely, but I'll tell you how protein helps you lose weight. Okay? Number one, by providing enough protein, you lose the right type of weight when you're in a calorie deficit, particularly if you're doing resistance training. So protein, dietary protein, buffers you against losing muscle mass so that you're actually losing fat. Okay? The second way that protein helps is it keeps you full. Okay? Think about this. This is an example I always use. You can eat a 500 gram steak and a 500 grams of rice at the start of the day, and you eat nothing else for the rest of the day, as an example. Who is going to be the hungrier person after 8 hours? The person that ate the rice. Not because rice is bad, but because rice is carbohydrate and it doesn't last as long in the gut as the steak does, which is predominantly protein, which fills you up for a long time. So what protein does is satiates you because it goes through the gut slower, because it's harder to break down, so you're fuller for longer, so you're not snacking on constant food, which bumps your calories up. This is why one of the recommendations is to try to have some protein at every meal. Don't have rice cake and tomatoes. Have rice cake, tomatoes, and eggs, or rice cake, cottage cheese, and tomato. Does this make sense? Don't just have oats with a scoop of protein in them. Yes, it's more calories, but it's more protein that fills you up. Don't just have a salad, have a chicken salad. Okay? Protein at every meal satiates you, means that you're going to be less hungry in between. Guys, that's a wrap for this morning. Really good episode of Q&A with some great questions, and I hope everyone benefited from that. Guys, just a reminder, I might just put a link to our free group up in the group. Just a reminder, guys, that all of the stuff that we do in the free group is just aimed at showing them, hey, this is what we do. This is our model. In the free group, we don't teach the how. We don't hold the hands. We show people, look, this is why you're struggling. If you want to fix the problem, you got to join our client group. Okay? So that's a wrap for that. Happy Friday, happy Thursday, whatever it is for you guys. We love you. I appreciate you. And when I say that, I don't just mean that tongue in cheek. To be able to have an audience where we can coach and help you guys be empowered, feel better about your life, that to me is worth more than money can produce. So thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. We'll chat soon.